Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing great. Today, with this, we are going to start with the last chapter of our civics book from class 6 civics, which is titled as this is chapter number 9, titled as Urban Livelihood. Now, in the previous chapter, we have studied how people are living, what occupations in day-to-day life they are dealing in to earn their livelihood in rural setups. Okay, and now in this chapter we are going to look into the urban lifestyles of people. Now look at this picture. This is the picture from your book only. If you will look at this, you will find the occupation, the entire picture doesn't relate anywhere with the rural setup that we have done. So here look at different things, like you have vendors here, the mode of transports are different, you have presence of factories, you see different towers. These things are not to be seen at all in the rural setup. You find children going to school, so this is a different entire setup. Now there are more than 5,000 towns and 27 big cities in India, and these big cities or metros are like your Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai. We have more than 1 million people residing in these big cities. Now this particular table clearly shows the difference between the rural livelihoods and the urban livelihood. Now here the primary thing remains the natural availability of resources, okay, and here we have access to the labor market. Over here land and housing is not a problem because they generally live in the areas where they are working. Generally in the villages you will find farmers making a small hut for themselves near the piece of land where they work. And access to land and housing is a big difficulty in urban setting. People end up buying huge rents as a payment for the house they are living in. Owning a house, those especially those who migrate from rural areas to small areas, from small cities to big cities, it remains a big problem. Housing remains a difficulty for these people. Government is distant, though we have learned that there had been efforts by the government to improve the local self-government, which is Panchayati Raj. Over here in urban areas, though there is a closeness to the government setup, but the people, those who are residing here, they are vulnerable to the bad governance also. Services over here are not available, though they are there. People are involved in non-farming activities. There is a small section of services, but it is not that as we find in urban setting. Though we have good services here, but they are very expensive. Like in the previous chapter we have done that when Thulasi's daughter fell sick, she came to the city for the daughter's treatment, and which was very expensive. Okay, so house as an economic resource, people make money when they leave, when they rent their house out, all their these things. This is served as an economic resource, and here the natural capital is there in rural areas. The primary occupation remains agriculture in rural. Now in this chapter we are going to, though we have it's not like a story the way we had in the last chapter, but it is going through a journey of two cousins. So they set their house out and they see how people are living on the street. So first of all, what is a city? A city is defined as a place where main occupation of people is not agriculture. So you will not find anywhere people involving in the activity related to farming, but there is a relationship. People in the city, they depend on villagers, in the sense they depend on the produce that is being given to people of city, that is being supplied to people of city from the villages, like all your vegetable, fruits, your different because they are involved in small non-farming activities, those things also, your milk supply. For these things we are dependent on villagers. There is an endless list of occupations in a city. Now in a city scene, in the last picture we have seen a multiple range of activities which are different from a village. Here when the cousins set out their house to reach to the market where they have to go, so they found that initially they found a vegetable vendor, Then there are different type of vendors there that they are finding, involving a newspaper vendor. They found one florist from where they bought a red and yellow flowers. Okay, plus the transportation system also, they found it to be very different. Then there is a story given of Bachu Manji in the chapter, who is a rickshaw puller, cycle rickshaw puller. So this is not Bachu Manji, but this is just to give an illustration of the work that he is doing in the city. But he is not permanently from the city. He's a landless farmer who has migrated from Bihar to this city. So after he came here, he bought an old rickshaw on installments. But the first of the thing is that why did he have to shift to the city from his village in Bihar? So there in the village he has his wife and 3 children who live there. He is a landless farmer. That means he doesn't own any land over there. So when in the village he is not getting the missionary work regularly, so the income that he was earning was not sufficient for his family, so he had to migrate here. Now post his migration to the city, he bought an old rickshaw on installments. That means whatever amount that he is getting, he has to repay certain thing to the person from whom he has taken this money. Now in the city, he is near the bus stand where he is working every morning, and he takes them for short rides, and the amount that he gets is 5 to 10 rupees per trip. Like you also must have seen that you can, like now in Delhi e-rickshaws are more popular, so like you go to he is not using this machine, there's no machine involved in it, it is all manual job. Okay, so here like he is taking them from bus stop to their houses, like short trips about say 5 to 6 kilometer, for which he is paid around 5 to 10. And now he has to save certain amount, say about 80, if he is earning about 80 to 100 rupees every day, so he has to spend on his food and rent, that goes about as 50 to 60. The rest amount he saves to send to the family members. If he is not keeping well, those days he doesn't get any work to do. Okay, so like, and he is visiting his family back twice or thrice a year to see and meet his family. Though his family members in the village are surviving on the money that he is sending to them, but as and when his wife gets some agriculture work, she does that for the extra income. So what is our learning from the story of Bachu Manji? We should understand the reason why he came to the city, because he was a landless farmer in the village. He did not own even a small piece of land. Then we got to understand the reasons why is he living away, why can't he live with his family in the village. Okay, so these are certain things that we need to see, plus the setup of the village market, of the city market that we have seen is different from the rural setup. Now is he getting like the structure of work? Just see that he is self-employed. Okay, there is no welfare of him in his occupation that he is into, that is not being looked at. Okay, now with this story we understand that there are large number of such people who work for us in the city street. Okay, so like we saw when the cousins were moving out, they saw a different number of hawkers, vegetable hawkers, they met florists from where they shopped, then the newspaper vendors are there. So there are so many vendors that you will find. Okay, so these people who are there, their life is not very easy, it is very difficult. So they all have to wind up their shops when the police asks them to. There are certain parts of the city where they are not allowed. There are people, those who are living in societies, they say that these vendors create a nuisance by blocking footpath and roads. So because they are blocking the footpath and road, so this results in the problem for pedestrian and vehicles, those who are moving on the road. So many people protest for these vendors who are occupying the roadsides. But in our country, everyone has the right to live, to earn his livelihoods, and so do the vendors. So the government is working on this issue, but plus their presence is needed. Like you don't have to go to distant areas You may find these vendors around your houses, and they make availability of different things easier and nearer to your house. So government is trying to make some areas exceptionally for these vendors. Care is also being taken to provide conflict between vendors and general public, so that their presence on road is not affecting their movement. Almost 1 crore street vendors are working in urban areas. So government is thinking to, they were there in the past, there had been different laws which were to ban the street vendors, but now government is thinking about modifying the law so that they also have a place of work, and there is a free flow of traffic and people. So that means they are trying to come up with certain amendments, certain changes, so that there's no conflict between vendors and general public, because vendors are again, first they get their livelihood, they're earning that, plus they are useful for us to provide different facilities in our lives also. So for the same thing, hawking zones have been suggested for towns and cities, like in the previous scene, a picture of no hawkers. Okay, and it has also been suggested that mobile vendor can be around freely in certain time frame. Hawkers need to be part of certain committees. So here we see that they have formed grouped their committees, and so that they can take welfare decision related to them. So now, as the cousins are moving ahead in their journey, so they have reached to a marketplace. Earlier they found different hawkers on the street. Now they have seen that though it's a morning time, but shops have started to open up. There is a lot of hustle bustle and crowd on the roads, and there they are finding different shops which have opened up. So further they had to come for the dental clinic because they had a prior appointment, for which they were scared, but that because the process of the getting the tooth treatment could be painful to them. Suppose that one of them wanted to buy certain clothing, so they went to a showroom which they found near which was a 3-tier showroom, and they went to the 3rd floor where the clothes for girls were kept. Now there they are finding 2 business persons, Harpreet and Vandana, okay, over here in this mall. So here in the market they saw that the shops could be small or large, and they are selling different type of things, but now they have come to a showroom which is 3-tiered, and here they are finding the clothing for women. Now these business persons, Harpreet and Vandana, Harpreet tells them that through this story they are getting to know how people are working, what is the occupation of people. See, now you can compare the lifestyle of people, the occupations of people from the previous chapter, the rural setup. Now Harpreet tells them that during festival time and on Sundays, she and her mother used to help their father. Okay, and she started working post her college got completed. This is the Harpreet story, and Vandana tells that she is a dress designer, and business has changed from their father's days. Now people prefer buying ready-made clothes. Okay, this is how the trend has been changed in the ready-made garments. These kind of thing you did not find in the previous chapter in the rural setup. Okay, now further they told that the material that they get is from different cities of India, like they are getting it from Mumbai, Ahmedabad, the material that they need from Ludhiana, Tripura, that the things that they need to run their business. So there are different things that they need to do to run the showroom properly. They advertise in the newspaper, cinema halls, TV and radio channels. Okay, they are hiring different workers to supervise their work as helpers. Okay, in their shops. Their shops are permanent. They are given a license to do their business by the municipal corporation, and it is a municipal corporation that decides the day of the week on which the market has to remain closed. So you see that there is a difference between the hawkers that they saw previously plus the people who own their own permanent shops. So there is a difference between the livelihoods. Market has small offices also that provide certain services like your banking, couriers and etc. So there is a difference between how different occupations are there, how people are earning their livelihood even in the city. So you see a huge range of occupation that people are dealing with in the city. From here, now they have bought certain dress, okay, and now she wanted, one of the cousin wanted the zari work. So her cousin told her that she knows Nirmala. Now they are going, they took a bus to reach to Nirmala. Now they saw on their journey, when they are reaching to the factory area, they saw that people were getting into the bus, but hardly anyone was going out. So finally they saw that there came a place when a lot of people started moving out. So then they got to learn about labor chowk. So what is a labor chowk? Labor chowk is a place where daily wage laborers, uh, where the people are getting daily wage laborers and who work as helpers in the machinery work. They work at construction sites. They might lift up, load, unload trucks in the market, dig pipelines and telephone cables, and also build roads. Thousands of such casual workers in the city. There are people who work like this in the city. So labor chowk is like, you may find this kind of thing. It's a common sight in cities where people who come here, they collect themselves, they come with their tools, and there would be people who are coming here and hiring them for the work. Now they have come to a factory area, and through the Nirmala story they will find that what kind of type of livelihood she is making to in the urban setting. Now through Nirmala story, Nirmala is a lady who is working in a factory, and she works in a garment factory, who are making clothing for the people who are living in foreign countries. Okay, so these type of work is known as casual worker, which she is into. They are working on casual basis. That means they are working as and when the work comes to them, as and when the employer needs them for the work. They are employed when the employer is getting large orders, and it is seasonal. Okay, there are certain season when there's a plenty of work for them. Other times they have to find some alternative work, some other job, because this does not remain their permanent job. They are asked to leave if worker complain about their pay. Like suppose she says that please increase my salary, so there's no there's no provision made for that. The working conditions are not looked into. If they complain, they have to leave the job. So there's no job security or protection, and plus there's a ill treatment also. And further, they are expected to work for longer hours. So this is one kind of thing that they saw. Further, they moved to their Sudha auntie's office. So there they found that Sudha auntie is into she's a permanent worker. She's working as a marketing manager. She is drawing a regular salary, plus she is not expected to continue for a longer period of time. Like she has certain working hours. Okay, so this is she's a permanent employee with the company, and she's been working for a long period of time. So there's a safety. There is a security in her work. So she is not a casual worker, she is a permanent worker. So there is a difference, and obviously because of the perks that are attached here, everybody would like to move from this category to this one. So there are work hours for the people who are working like Sudha aunty. They have working hours being taken care of. Wages, like the salary that they get is good. They have annual leave. They have work-life balance. Like those who are employing like this, those who are working in regular sector, who they have where they have their permanent job, these work rights are being taken care of. They have savings for old age. Part of her salary is kept for the as a fund with the government, so that becomes a saving for her old age for after she retires. She is earning an interest also on these savings. Holidays also are given. Plus she gets some annual leave also. There are medical facilities not only for her but for her family. Company pays for the medical expenses up to a certain amount. They get medical leave. Salary is not cut for if she is going on medical leave, salary is also not being cut. Like so, out of 3 jobs, you saw hawkers, how Bachu Manji was living, is earning his livelihood. Then we saw business setup. Then we saw casual laborers, casual workers, plus we saw the permanent one. So you have gone through different type of setup, different type of occupation that people are into to earn their livelihood in the city. So with this we come to the end of this chapter, plus we come to the end of civics of class 6. So thank you. Please do watch it again, like and share and subscribe. Thank you so much.